Thank you for joining us on Discussion to Action. Today we're going to be talking about the common phrase made by many women who often say things like, there are no good men out there. And we're also going to have a conversation about women of value. Let's get started. Women of value. Describe a woman of value.
She has, I'll say it for everybody, she knows her intuition, is in tune with her intuition as a woman, so much so that the conversation of not being, that there's no longer good men doesn't exist anymore because she's really great with her choosing ability. Because at that point, it's like somebody that's good with money. If he knows how to invest, he's going to invest his money properly all the time. He's going to evaluate the losses he's willing to be able to take in order to get an ROI. Like, okay, I'm going to take a hit on this right now, but my ROI down the line is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a bumpy road right now in these stocks, but you know right now it ain't looking too good. Yeah, it's $1 right now. I'm going to put $1,000, but you know next year and the years following, it's going to be on an upturn.
So a woman of value is?
A woman who knows herself well enough to make good decisions.
I think probably.
She knows her identity. That's the number one thing.
See, that's what we all gonna say. I'm telling you.
If she does not know her identity, she's not going to recognize her value.
Okay.
Just straight up.
And I think Proverbs 31 pretty much describes the virtuous woman, a woman of value. I'm a hip hop artist and I do music. And so I got a song where I talk about Proverbs 30. I talked about my wife in this rap song before I even met her. And so in the second verse, I talk about how a woman, I describe, the first verse, I described the woman that I dealt with, and I described the woman that God brought into my life and what I inspired, what I wanted. And so a woman of value, what I described her is somebody who basically lifts up God and esteems God higher than her husband, higher than her job, higher than her finances, money, and this and that. She esteems God first. And then everything else falls right into place.
That she will, a woman that will choose feeding your spirit over feeding your flesh.
Okay. In general, do you believe women value themselves?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay. And
not to their true value.
And quickly, what clues?
Decision making. Decision making so much so that they're...
Tells you that whether they're
absolutely,
value
100%.
Well, I was going to say, period, point blank, if you value yourself, we all look for jobs. Let's say something so universal that you'll understand this. You can go work at McDonald's or any fast food restaurant right now, but you value yourself to a certain degree, not saying that those jobs are bad for anybody out there that works at these locations, but after you get to a certain point of your life, there's a level that you value yourself enough to know, like, you know what, I need benefits. I need packaging. I need equity. If you're somebody, I need equity within the company if I'm working for you. So I value myself enough to create a resume. I'm on LinkedIn. I have the premium. I have these things, and I'm willing to wait until I get those things. And while I don't have those things, I will still be good enough with me.
And another with the value, to go off what he was saying. So a lot of women don't value themselves because they're giving men husband benefits.
Oh, boyfriends
are getting like the husband benefits without even being a husband, without even being engaged, without even, you know.
Then the men that actually deserve those kind of qualities don't get it.
I would also say that, I would say that for the women out there listening, this conversation is that do not buy into the culture of this world where they tell you who you are. They feed you your identity, a false identity. Get your identity from Christ, and then truly understand who God created you to be, so that you can walk in congruence with that identity, and then you can attract that which is parallel to your level.
That's good. In general, men watch, pornography, post up pictures, watch videos, search for and follow women that they view as pretty, beautiful, or sexy. Do men expect women to look perfect?
No.
No, not at all. That's like, I feel like
there's a standard for everything. Period.
I have video games because I like to fantasize from time to time. But there is nothing that I feel like the video game is that so much real life that that's what I want to go live out and do in my personal day. It's just something that I may dabble in, or I just like to see. I feel like it goes both ways. Again, women like men. If you're a woman that likes a man with a good shape, or you like actors, or whatever the case may be, that's what you are, that's appealing to the eye.
But are men putting a value on women based on the way they look?
I believe that, and we do, but I believe that our generation is shifting into where it's self-perpetuating. women put it onto themselves. It's a competition amongst like, I gotta be the prettiest one in the room, or I'm looking pretty for the other girls that are gonna be there, not necessarily to appease or attract a man. And it's like, and it becomes this self. I don't even want to talk about that.
I would say this, when it comes to,
I don't have that.
I was gonna say, we grade women based how they grade themselves. So if I met you and you were around these individuals and you put up with your friends and the people around you that you're this kind of woman, I'm gonna have that expectation of you immediately. You can tell by the way I met you and why I talked to you. So if I met you when you were dolled all the way up, and that's how I always want to see you, then that's what I expect of you.
Should men take some responsibility in how they treat women?
Absolutely, it's our fault.
You know what? I will say this. I'm going to be devil's advocate.
Got to be.
I'm going to be devil's advocate very quickly. You get what you allow. So
Very true.
so there is no accountability for me I don't need to take accountability for doing something on purpose, because I already took accountability by doing it on purpose. So if I'm being real here. So if I'm faithful, I'm accountable by my actions, not what I say to you.
Right.
So when we go to accountability or taking accountability, my actions are what take accountability. So I'm accountable for being a cheater by cheating. Period.
Yes.
So if I lie, my accountability is within my lies. So yes, we do take accountability. It's just that taking accountability doesn't mean feeling sorry for my actions. And that's what you're really asking. Do I feel sorry for doing these things to you? 9 times out of 10, no. To be honest, whether I'm being good or bad.
That's right.
That's just my honest opinion, because I knew what I wanted to do and I acted on it. And that's my accountability, by acting on it. That's what I wanted to be accountable for.
All right, there was more. The bonus questions, these are the last questions. There was more. This is good conversation. I'm so sad that we couldn't get through it. But let's see, who wants to choose from everyone? This side, this side.
These are
You've been taking the lead all day.
Yeah. And go
What else?
ahead
Like
and,
question on the thing?
Godson, read it out loud, please.
Oh, read it.
That's a deal breaker. Straight up. Straight up.
You already know how down.
Okay,
Come on.
you meet a woman of value. She's everything you envisioned her to be, but her vagina stinks really bad. Would that be a deal breaker? I'm gonna answer that question immediately.
Oh, no.
She can't be a woman of value if she doesn't value her hygiene, so that's automatically a deal breaker. Throw that back in there.
And if she's a real woman of value, you shouldn't know that.
I was like, if you got any inclination.
Listen, you shouldn't know that her vagina, if she's a woman of value, you shouldn't know that her vagina stinks until it's too late.
I had a situation one time when I was in my early 20s, and I was an unrepentant thug. But anyway, this young lady came to my, Lord Jesus.
Hey, is she making it do? Jesus.
No, I'm saying like, the odor was
gotta be honest,
it
you gotta
was
see
almost
through
like
it.
supernaturally evil, man.
Did it smack you in the face?
It was horrible.
Hold on. That means
And I was mad, like, can't you smell your own, like, what the?
That's what the question is. How is that possible? If I can smell it and my nose doesn't work, your nose has to work. So
it's like living.
She was obviously nose blind.
No. That's like living in Chino Hills for so long that you don't know the manure smell is out there until you drive out.
Oh my God.
And then you come back.
Yeah.
But no,
And there's nothing
Was it hot?
ladies, you don't want no stinky penis or balls, and that's going to be a deal breaker for you, because if we're having unprotected sex and we're at that point, that's going to mess up your pH balance.
Yeah.
So also, you need to know about your pH balance, because that is a no-go as a woman.
But see, this is the problem, bro. How many women have
hygiene?
How many
Massive
women
girls.
actually openly acknowledge that their vagina does not
Massive
smell good? It's a conversation that's difficult to have, because it's like, she has to be able to be willing enough to open enough to say that, oh yeah, it does.
If you discover that, how do you treat her? How do you have that conversation?
Exactly. How do you have that conversation?
You need to go to the doctor
You know what?
and get checked, because you get your.
How do you tell her?
Sweetie, you know what? You're beautiful.
You don't get a package. No, if that's focus. I was like, look.
You just make a noise. You don't say it. You just make a noise.
That shit, especially with the way, I'm sorry, that thing is so unacceptable because of the way that y'all body works, having periods and everything like that. That should be your number one. Like,
With that being
taking care
said,
of
what about
self.
the man? I mean, do men still, because I feel like...
Oh yeah, we gotta take care of ourselves. We got. If we don't take care of ourselves, we don't get none. Unless we go and we get some from some unattractive like women that don't care.
Well, natural friction creates, smell, sweat, and so
No.
naturally,
I like to
at the end of the day,
it'd be good.
it's gonna any man out there that says at the end of the day his package don't have a little odor to it, he's lying. It's friction, it's sweat,
Yeah.
it happens.
No.
So you gotta clean yourself, you gotta make sure you're clean. It's the same for women.
Drink plenty of water.
Friction,
Water.
moisture creates odor, bad
water.
odor. You gotta
You got
Smart water.
all of these things.
drink.
For salty.
Drink a lot of Coca-Cola.
Next
I'm drinking a lot of that.
What's your question?
Oh, okay. It says, in general, what is your understanding of what a woman desires from a man? Okay, so I can't even really answer this question because I believe that what a woman desires from a man and what she accepts or tolerates is often it contradicts itself.
Yeah, it's two different things.
In her head, she has an expectation, but she'll accept something less than and require or expect for it to grow into what
To that
she
fairy tale
desires.
she wants.
Also, it depends on, like was said before, what stage of life she's at.
Yes.
The desires of an 18-year-old woman are different from the desires of a 25, 30, a married woman to a single woman. So it's really hard to answer that question.
I feel like they don't do enough they don't do enough soul searching to the point to identify those needs and understand that we need to get deeper than desires.
Yes.
And that's the issue itself. We desire a lot of things that we don't need. So if you have enough soul searching to figure out what you need, you can find those core values within somebody that's around you.
Yes.
And then those core values will then breed into, they'll drop, okay, it's like a tree, right? I was listening to this video, I'll make it very short. He asked if the tree grows in 7 years. When you plant the seed, the tree doesn't sprout until the 7th year.
Right.
So he asked you, how long does it take for the tree to grow? Some people would say the year that it sprouts. The man said 7 years. It takes 7 years. So what that means is that you planted that seed knowing that it was going to grow in 7 years. That means you knew about that seed. You planted that seed and you wanted it to grow into those branches and areas of life. So if you know what you want from a man and the core values, you're able to see the seeds that he naturally plants himself will grow into these other things that he can build upon, because core values create true potential. We're not talking about regular potential. True potential means these are things that you have an attachment to within your core, meaning that somebody who's just naturally balanced is going to be somebody who's not emotionally wavering. He's naturally balanced from birth. Like, that's something that's within him.
That's one thing that women struggle with. Because like the question says, it says, what is your understanding of what a woman desires? I believe women desire for a man to be what they want, but not always what they need. Because there's certain moments when you're gonna need for me to be something that's not gonna make you feel
That's
good.
right.
You're gonna need for me to be something in your life or say something to you that's not gonna make you feel warm and fuzzy. But there's this expectation of, well, you're here to make me feel warm and fuzzy, to make my life easy and to make me happy. That is true. But I'm also supposed to grow you. I'm supposed to improve you. I'm supposed to challenge you. And so those things create friction. Friction creates pain. So if you're not willing to go through any pain with me, you're not willing for me to really be what you need. You want me to be what you want.
Real situations require real responses.
Absolutely.
So when we having a real situation here, I can't be fake. You gotta allow me to be real,
And when the real comes out, you gotta take it.
Just take it.
I think it really goes down to is that women are identifying the level of where they're at and the needs that match that at that moment.
Man, that's good.
And meaning that sometimes the needs exceed the level of where you're at, so much so that you'll never find a good man by your criteria, because you're not even on the level of where you're at to need those things to be in a relationship.
And that's the danger of having a list, because you're creating a list
Yeah.
where you are right now.
I was like,
Yes.
That you're going to continue to change, evolve, and grow.
my question is, how do you ever build towards marriage? How is that ever built towards marriage if you want somebody to already be there?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
go ahead.
Good. Any last words? We're wrapping it up right now.
I can't wait till we get to sit.
Women?
Yes.
That's the one.
I'm bringing my wife next time.
I think at the
See
end
what
of the
they
day,
got
we
to
all
say. I
have the
wanna hear
same
the woman's
issues. I
perspective.
feel like women get so caught up in blaming men for everything that men have got off that. Men just do what, like, men, like,
I might as well just be the monster that you say I am.
men have acknowledged,
I might as well be
men are so accountable
You saying
that they
I'm
just
cheating?
cheat. I'm gonna be so real.
I'm
Do you not know? Men are so accountable that they cheat.
You're accusing me.
No, I'm gonna be so real. It's gonna sound so backwards when I say this. Men are so accountable that they cheat for the fact of they know they don't make good decisions.
So let me ask you.
I was like, when you really think about that psychologically right there.
You just took me to the matrix.
I was like, men are so accountable. Like, I'm gonna be so real. Men are so accountable for who they are, so much so that we literally build environments for what we want to be created. Period, point blank. That's why the issue with women are, why do men do all these things? Men seem to be controlling, men are controlling because that's who they, if that man is controlling, that's who he is, so guess what he's gonna do? Create environments around him where he can control things. If somebody's a beat, if he beats on women for you know, this is tell me, gotta get back to you. No, ain't no man beaters in here, but I'm saying, if a man beats on a woman, he's gonna create an environment where that is validated within his mind, so when he beats on that woman, there's never an issue.
Justified.
I'm trying to tell you, men are so that like accountable for us when it comes to what we need to do because the world forces us to. Like, we take for granted that men have to be providers naturally. Like, it's not something that's.
So it's interesting what you're saying. What's your point, actually,
The point is that
by saying that?
you asked if
Or versus women?
yes, men are more accountable for the decisions they make than women are. So we tend to be more happier than women are. That's why we don't have the same issues that women have, because we don't BS when it comes to choosing. We are going to choose what we selfishly want within a woman, regardless if it makes sense or not. And when it doesn't make sense, we leave.
Is everybody
Most of
understanding that? Or
No, I'm being dead serious here. Men leave. You literally just clarified.
What do you have to say about that? Are you?
No.
Is that clear?
It was like no, you said it clearly. They say women have the preconceived notion that men flight or they run. Well, they're running and they leave because they're not happy with you. So they left. They did what you couldn't do. Is leave the situation when you got to the point to where things weren't working. And that's the difference, is that men will sit there and not have an emotional attachment to
making
making
the context of a marriage, or
no, not marriage. No. Just
Marriage is
can't
different.
leave. Marriage,
You can't leave.
Look, hold on.
That's why you don't do it.
Look,
No,
I am not married.
hold on, bro. I gotta take a minute, bro. No, for real.
Thank you.
For all of y'all listeners, bro. It is a sacred bond, and I'm tired of our generation disrespecting it, bro. Don't even come into it. Don't even come into the idea of it. If you don't understand, there is no way out. Don't do it. Okay,
He said, till death do you part. So it's not about marriage, it's just natural relationship, or even, actually, you know what? I'll even bring marriage when it comes into it. Because my personal opinion is once you create that bond and you get that ring on there, if you don't put your ego to the side to figure out resolutions on, if both parties don't know how to be bigger persons at all times, then you shouldn't be getting married.
Man.
That's how I personally feel. If you don't have the ability to look past what somebody's done because they were acting emotionally within that moment, and you know that person, then you should not be getting married. Two, when it comes down to certain things, it's the reality when we just talk about men being accountable for themselves as much as women being accountable. I'm saying, in my personal opinion, and things that doesn't mean that cheating is okay, doesn't mean that leaving's okay, doesn't mean that anything is that okay. But what I am saying to the underlying message here is that men aren't afraid to make the choices that women don't make. Meaning that I will leave you if I'm not happy. If you don't fulfill these needs, whatever, if it's a non-negotiable, it's non-negotiable for men. Deuces. Women negotiate non-negotiables. So if you were to stop,
And I know he will.
whatever personal criteria that you have as a woman, if it's non-negotiable, then be consistent.
That's what y'all be doing.
Or put it this way, your non-negotiables is relative to your value.
Yep.
So if you negotiate your non-negotiables, then your value drops.
On that note,
That's why I didn't marry.
that was good. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining, taking part in discussion to action.
That's
See
like,
you next time.
that's like if I'm $1 million business, I'm about to take no. I'm about to take no.
Hey, that was wait to the win. It's all feeling good when it's all you.
They gonna hit us.
So when they
Man.
Thank you guys so much.
I'm trying to say the stuff that's really